Hi, everybody. So I have Lisa here with me today, and she's one of our new teachers. So I wanted to introduce her, and she's going to tell you all about herself. But before we do that, she's going to be helping with small business. And small business is going to be the future. Big corporations are already falling. I watched this thing, I think it was yesterday, and like 250 of this company, they're closing their stores. 500 of these, all these people are being laid off. Big business is going. It's going to be individual business in the future. And Lisa is going to be teaching about that. So, hi, Lisa.
Hi, honey. Was so looking forward to being here today. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Like with everyone else, been following you for a long time, and just it's your information is just so needed, and it's just so helpful, not only to myself, but many whom I've shared with. So thank you for all that you're doing. And I think the opportunity to attend classes like this is so important because this information isn't just out there.
Right. Yeah. And that's the whole purpose of the school, is to be really well-rounded and help people with the future. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I feel like it's an honor and a privilege to be able to do this. I've been an entrepreneur and what I'll call an intrapreneur, which I'll explain, for many, many years, and learned a lot of lessons. And, in parallel with my own spiritual journey, now bringing it all together, because how we create businesses, how we operate businesses in the new world is very different than how they were traditionally. The good news is it's much easier. So part of it is just getting out of our own way to make it happen.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big
So,
thing.
so maybe I could spend a couple minutes just talking about my background and
Yeah.
how I got here, and then, talk a little bit about the classes and how I'm thinking about things. So, you know, I started life in sales and marketing, but it was really all solutions. It's all about creating solutions for businesses. And then early on in my career, I got an opportunity to become an entrepreneur. And I spent a lot of time thinking about what I really wanted to do. And the parts of the solution selling that I loved was creating solutions and teaching and helping people. So I had a terrific opportunity to break out on my own and started a training business. And it was all based on technology. And the first project was about teaching people in medical centers how to use technology, and it was just so rewarding. But one of the things that I learned from that is not only teaching people, but being there to support them through the whole process. And that's what we did. We would spend a couple months in a medical center just supporting people, helping them to apply their knowledge in the real world environment. And it made such a difference and such an impact. And it was the first time I ever experienced in my life that it didn't feel like work. I felt like I was just doing something different in my week. It was absolutely glorious. Never thought about the fact that I come from a long line of teachers, but
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So that led me to other businesses, which included Your Good Life, which was content partners with America Online, and creating content, helping women professionally, personally, and physically create their good lives. And then also then going back to grassroots around consulting and tech solutions. We created a technical solution in the medical community. We worked a lot in financial services. And then, of course, the dot-com bubble burst and things, shifted and changed. And I had a fantastic opportunity to join a Fortune 50 company and do what I say is called an entrepreneur. And that was setting up small companies, small businesses within a large company. The best piece was didn't have to worry about the financial side,
Right.
which is good and bad. You don't have the up, but you don't have the down. And so I had an opportunity to create an operation in Ireland. And to me, this is where kind of the foundation of a blueprint really started, because we created something different. Because it was in another country away from the parent company, we really focused on creating the right culture where everybody was supportive of each other, collaborated, and would come together, even if it wasn't their work, to create solutions. From a culture perspective, there was just so much energy around it. In fact, many of the senior executives would create reasons to come over to the operating center because everybody was so energetic and so happy. That was before I really knew, like, people would say, I need to come over because I need to feel that energy again.
Mhm.
And so it was just a wonderful experience. I have goosebumps even talking about it. And, created other businesses and did other things for the company. But meanwhile, in parallel, I always knew there was something more, since I was a child, and always fascinated with the mystical and fascinated with other things. But in my early 20s, I was a high stress individual, always, and funny, I would tell people, I know through my stress, I'm creating my medical issues. So I actually knew I was doing it. I just didn't know how to stop it at the time.
Yeah.
So I went on this journey of finding different solutions. So, the first time I did it myself, though, was when I learned Reiki. And that was when I really realized, holy cow, I can heal myself. That really changed my whole perspective when I
Yeah.
began to understand that we create everything within us. And then I think the next biggest was learning heart coherence. And that's where I really connected with my heart and learned how we create our own reality.
Mhm.
And that's when I really began to practice um, manifestation and connecting. And it was just so exciting. And we're able to do some wonderful things in the Fortune 50 company. Looking back, some of the things that we created and I had a business partner at the time as entrepreneurs. I'm like, wow, when it really worked well, it's because we were just naturally operating in a model that allowed us to connect to our heart, flow, interact with customers. Customers would come to us. It was the most amazing thing. But
Yeah.
when we would allow our patterns and beliefs to come back or be worried about finances and things like that, it was like, boom, it stopped things.
Yeah.
So fast forward to the last year, I had an opportunity to take an early retirement package. And last year, I started helping other, what I'm calling conscious businesses or healing businesses, really take their ideas to fruition and simplifying the process to make it easier for folks. And part of what I want to do is I want to share that information with others so they don't have to do what I did, where, the hard way, going out, finding all this information, talking to so many different people, and finding, like, what's the secret ingredient.
Right.
So I'm going to
Yeah.
pause there.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. It's so important just because there's going to be so many entrepreneurs, and a lot of these people have just been used to working for someone else, but they have this beautiful idea that is supposed to
Right.
come to the world because they're inspired to bring it. They don't really know how to do it. So I think that is the future. I think there's going to be a lot of small business, and most big business will not exist anymore.
Yeah.
So, and if you think about it, anybody that's on the stock market pretty much has probably been corrupted in some way, unless they're starting out with penny stocks or something.
Right.
So I think it's just a beautiful way to help people learn how to do it so they have enough confidence to actually go out and do their dream, because that's why they're here.
I think you're so right. And in fact, in talking to many other folks over the last few weeks, just in thinking about and preparing for these courses, I talked to other entrepreneurs that have started their own healing businesses, um, life coaching businesses, and kind of what was the secret across all of them that really made you successful. And I
Mhm.
think the first and foremost was identifying what is truly in their heart of hearts, that they know that they're like bursting with excitement that they have to go do this.
Yeah.
And that was what the common theme that I had, in my conversations, where folks were really struggling were when folks were doing it more because it was a popular idea, or it was something that others were doing and they wanted to get in on it, or they were just looking for a way to make money, and it was something that they were interested in but not necessarily passionate about. So I think that the most important thing is, how do you connect to your heart and know that this is your life's mission, but then also know that whatever you create today may not even look like this in a year or 2 years. So
Yeah.
having that flexibility to know, to really embrace your energetic connections, and really going into your heart and your intuition, know what you want to do, and as things inspire you, you're going to continue to flow and change. So I think those were some of the most important things from a success factor.
Yeah. I think that's amazing, because nowadays it's going to be, what are you consciously wanting? It's
Right.
not about, oh, I'm going to go get rich and I'm going to do all this stuff. Nobody's going to care about that anymore. Everybody's going to have enough money. So it's really about what your passion is and what you're being guided to do.
I absolutely agree. And part of how I'm thinking about and conscious business, and if you went and Googled conscious business, what you might see is a little bit different than what I'm teaching, because I've been guided to teach it a little bit differently.
Mhm.
Far more connection. And you and I had this conversation, and you're the one that kind of like gave me a nudge in another direction. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
When we when we think about it, when we're creating a business, we're creating something. We're
Yeah.
actually manifesting it and bringing it to life. So that means it has energy. It
Mhm.
also means it has consciousness.
Right.
So I think part of what we really want to think about as we look at this framework, what are we creating? And so then taking it even a little bit further is, if I look at a business, it's the same way you can look at life. So, we think of life and operating our life as being connected from a mind, body, and spirit perspective.
Mhm.
It's no different from a business perspective. So
Yeah.
if I think about it from a business perspective, you think about your heart. That's all about, what are the intentions that you're setting? What are you manifesting and bringing to life, bringing energy to it? How are you using your own intuition to make decisions? And if you're going to hire people, then what's the culture that you're going to create, so they're going to have kind of the same ethos that you have?
Exactly.
The next thing, when I think about the mind or the brain, it's, so what's the strategy? What are the services? What's the value that you want to create? And then the last thing, the body, think of it as like everything else. It's all the structure and the foundation around what you're creating. So it might be your operating model, it might be how you bring things to market. It is definitely your financials, it's your people, it's the location that you choose to set up in. So those are all the key elements that, from what I'm aligning to, what might be your body,
Right.
and all of it needs to be connected. And so when you think of it from those terms, I think it's really easy to relate to everybody's own journey and what they're doing. And at the core of it, it's really being connected.
Yeah, it is. And also, so this would actually work really well for humanitarian projects as well. Because the business, you need to ask the business, what do I want? What does the business want me to do?
Right.
This choice or this choice, that piece of land or that piece of land, this building or that building, the business knows. And it's really about your higher self tapping into what's best for the business. So to be taught how to do that, I think is invaluable for what's coming. Because
Yeah.
we're not going to be employees anymore. We're just going to
Right.
be creating our own stuff. Yeah.
I agree. And being able to make decisions, in my younger days, that wasn't easy for me.
Right.
But knowing that you have something to tap here, and you get an instant answer, yes, no. You might hear it, you might feel it, you might use a pendulum, you might use other means to do it, but and think about how that can speed so many things. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
It really is cool. and the business wants to be acknowledged. So like the school itself wanted to be acknowledged. So I was like, well, should I just wait until I get the money, it all comes in, and then we can build it, and and then do the online? And higher self's like, get the online done, start it. And businesses just want action. They want you to start, even if it's messy, even if it looks kind of wonky,
Yeah.
just get it going, even if it's only one day a week, like something happening. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. It was the one thing when I was that gave me a set comfort after working in a large corporation, because for a number of years, and that was somehow in my heart of hearts I knew that I didn't need to worry as long as I was creating something that really helped others. I
Mhm.
knew the money would come. I didn't know
Yeah,
how, but I knew the money would come.
it does. And it shows up. And you may not need hardly any to start with, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. When you think about it, if you're doing something online, or even if you're creating a healing business, or there are many ways in which you can do it with very little money, and you can get creative. There are places out there, especially with real estate the way it is today, where it's almost like a co-op. There's many people that are sharing the same space.
Yeah.
um so that's just one example. So that's part of what I hope to share in these classes, so that it makes it really easy for folks. And the other thing is as we come together, it's a terrific opportunity for people to also share, because it's not all about what I can impart, it's what the collective group can share with each other as you're kind of going through the process. So how I'm thinking about this is doing an overview class that creates a framework that
Mhm.
has all the key elements in it. If you think of a business model canvas, which is almost a summary framework of your entire business, you'll be able to you'll be able to see an example of it on one page. All the key elements that you need to, tackle, think about, opine on, etc. And then breaking out in 3 subsequent classes. And you don't have to take all of them. You could just jump into one of them. They'll be standalone, but each of the parts I talked about. So if you think about the heart piece, or, creating your value proposition and what is it and your intention around the business, that'll be one class. And then another class will really all be about the strategy and, the mind aspects. And then the last is really around, the body, which is the vessel, or the operational mechanisms of the business. So think about it in those 3 parts, and people will be able to jump into any of them, in order, because some people may already have started their business and they may only need help in one area.
Yeah. Exactly. Because there's a lot of people who have a small business now, and they just need a piece to make everything kind of really work, to take
Right.
off. Yeah. I'm excited for these classes. So I'm gonna pause because I have an idea and I want to share it if you like it. Okay, so we had an idea, and it's basically, so Lisa's gonna do her classes, and then she's gonna put a whole series of classes in the library, and then also do a subscription for people who want to go ahead and join, like, and basically be like a think tank for their own small business and create. So, and I don't know where she'll do that at, but she can do it with us if she wants. But I'm really excited about that because I think it'll help everybody.
Cool. I'm excited too. It
Yeah.
was actually kind of something that I was thinking about that needed to happen after the fact. It goes back to my training days where you can attend a class, but how do you then apply it? And to be able to share and work with others, it makes such a huge difference.
Yeah. Well, then people can bounce ideas off each other. If they're
Yeah.
not that intuitive, then they can say, I have these 2 choices. I need confirmation. What is the best choice? Can somebody use their own pendulum and see? Because sometimes it's easier if you have somebody else do it because they're not as like attached to the outcome.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think supporting each other is so critical because you're right, especially in the early stages of business, it's letting go of patterns of beliefs, you know, that the money will come or that this is going to be hard. And you're right, because when there's a little bit of emotion attached to it, then sometimes it's hard to separate and get the right answer. But helping
Yeah.
each other, it's so much easier when somebody who's, you know, just connecting from the outside.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love it too. I think it's going to be brilliant. So we'll work that up.
Yay. More
Yeah.
details to follow, right?
More details. Yes. But I'm really excited for this class to get started. I don't know the date. I don't even know if you know the date, but I'm sure Chrissy will have the date ready for us when this airs and it'll be
Yes.
underneath. And I think the overview is really important so you can figure out, is this for me? You know, is this how I want to do my business or my project?
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I just want to say thank you again for giving me the platform to get the word out and the messages out to others. Because ironically, I wasn't sure how that was going to happen. And then Honey said, well, why don't you do a class?
Yeah, I'm really excited because this is the foundation of what comes next. You know, because the corporations are going to go, so we have to get people ready to go and do whatever their small business is. Maybe it's making soap, maybe it's making clothing, maybe,
Right.
you know, it could be some kind of healing modality, whatever it is that they're comfortable and they can handle it.
Awesome.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Have a great
Bye.
day.